Hey, in this video, you are going to see a full tutorial of how to use Link My Books. We're going to show you everything step by step, and hopefully this video is going to be useful for you. In the description, I'm going to have the best offer also for Link My Books, so you're welcome to check it out. It's going to be an affiliate link. And today with me, Daniel Little. He's the founder of Link My Books, and he's going to show us today this tutorial, and hopefully it's going to be useful for you, the viewer. If you have any questions, of course, drop comments. We're going to get back to you. And yeah, Dan, man, what's up? Good day to you.
Yeah, how you doing, Vova? Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, all good, man. All good. Ready to record another good video, man, hopefully. And yeah, let's help people.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get people's accounting automated.
All right, let's do it, man. Let's see how it all works. Because some people might be having like technical misunderstandings or something like that. I hope this video is going to show them so they're going to smoothly like go through the process.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this is a demo account inside of Link My Books. So what I thought I could go through first is start at the end of the process. So imagine that you've already connected up your Amazon account and in this case, a Xero account, but we also support QuickBooks as long with other channels as well, like Shopify, etc. But we'll start at the end of the process. So you've connected all that up. You've already gone through all the setup and how does it actually work? What does it actually do? And then what we can do is we can have a look at like how to add a new account and how to set up an account so that we've got the whole process mapped out. So firstly, this is our settlements dashboard. This is where all the magic happens effectively. So every time the client is receiving a payout from a sales channel, so in this case, Amazon, we will gather all the information that makes up that payout, including sales, refunds, fees, and most importantly, taxes and VAT. And we will break it all down into a nice clean summary entry to be posted across to the bookkeeping system. So in this case, for example, with this one here, one for £30.43, for the payout period, August the 9th to August the 23rd, if we view that one, then what we can see is it's made up of various different types of Amazon transactions, including, as I said, sales, refunds, fees, and taxes. So what we are doing is we are basically grouping all those things together and putting down the amounts, allocating them to a specific account in the customer's chart of accounts, and applying the correct tax rates so that they always pay exactly the right amount of tax on every single sort of payout. And so the total of all those transactions comes to £30.43, which will become obvious as to why that's beneficial later on when we actually send it across to Xero. So in fact, we'll do that now. So to send one of these summary entries across to Xero, you've basically got two choices. You can either send it from the action menu here, which is what we are going to do, or you can actually come into settings, settlement settings, and then you can turn on automation, where you can basically say you want to automatically post all the settlements from a specific date onwards. If you only want to post like for a specific month, you can choose a start and an end date. Most people will manually send across a couple, make sure they're happy with it, make sure their accountant is happy with it, and then they'll just turn on auto post, backdate it to whenever they'd finished their bookkeeping manually, say the 1st of September, and then they just leave it turned on. And what that would mean is that we'd post everything across from the 1st of September onwards and anything new that comes in as well. Now, just for the purposes of today's demo, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this one across manually. So we'll just click send to Xero. That will then send it across to Xero. And there you go. That is now being sent across to Xero. So now it's marked as sent. So the last step in the process. So for example, here is the seller's received a payout of £30.43. We've now sent across that summary entry to Xero. The last step is to go into Xero and reconcile that off on their bank statement. So I actually already have Xero open here. I've got a test Xero account here. So if I just refresh this page, well, actually, I'll show you first of all. So here's the payment coming in for £30.43. And currently it's not matched against anything because until now we hadn't sent anything. But now if we refresh this page and we scroll back down to that one, now the £30.43 is being automatically matched against the invoice that we've created. So all we need to do is click OK in the middle, and that's it. Job done. That's the accounting done for that payout. Now, the magic happens in that this thing that's been sent across, so if we view it again, we can, from here in this menu, we can actually view the invoice on Xero. Just a quick way to get to it. All of the stuff has been separated out correctly. So we've got an invoice of £30.43. All the different transactions are being allocated to the correct accounts and the correct tax rates. So all the VAT is being worked out. In this case, it's a UK customer, so it's VAT. But we also support GST for Australia and sales tax for the US. And the payment has been allocated because we matched it up on the bank statement. So All of that has happened automatically. They've not needed to do anything. They receive a payout from Amazon. We've handled all of the sort of processing of that payout, and then the transactions have been allocated to the correct parts of the bookkeeping. What used to take them hours and hours every month to work out how everything worked out and balanced, now it just takes a couple of clicks. So inside of Xero, once you've then sent across all this information, it'll obviously trickle through into your profit and loss or income statement. So I've filled this with a bit of fictitious data from various channels just so that you can see the power of Link My Books. So this is just imagining that the seller sells across Amazon, Shopify, Square is a new one that's coming for us, and TikTok. So it's got all the different types of sales and refunds that have come in and the different cost of goods sold, all the different types of fees, and it shows them their profit after taxes or profit before tax. So it makes it nice and easy for you and your accountant to then come in and have access to all the information that you need in terms of your bookkeeping, and that it's 100% accurate so that you know that you're accounting for things correctly and you're paying the right amount of taxes. So if we just jump back into Link My Books, so while we're on this page, the view settlement page, we can also have a look at an analysis of specifically this payout. So having a look at your P&L in Xero is one thing, but that's obviously like all of your data across all of your channels. If you wanted to just, for example, look at this payout that I've just received, how does that compare to my last payout? So like check your 2-week on 2-week growth with Amazon, then that's what this is for. So you can see that you had £118 worth of sales, which is actually up £11 versus the last payout. You had 2.81% refund ratio, which I think is a good thing to look at, to be honest, like to look at your refunds as a percentage of your sales. And that is down 6.5% versus last month. Now, obviously on these figures, that percentage is probably not the end of the world, but if someone was doing £10,000 worth of sales, then the refund percentage would change much less month to month. And then they would be able to work out like maybe reasons as to why. You can see your average order value, you can see your profit, you can see your profit margin, and you can see your return on investment percentage. And then you've also got like a little mini P&L statement specifically for this analysis section. And this is relatively new for us, and we plan on expanding it out. So the next step in the journey for us is this is one payout versus the last payout. We're also going to be bringing out monthly, quarterly, and annually comparisons. So you can look at each month, each quarter, and each year. You can then bring in all the data from all of your channels. So this, we're looking at our Amazon account, but you can have all different channels connected to this. So you can have Amazon, Shopify, eBay, Etsy, TikTok Shop, Walmart. As I said, Square is coming, WooCommerce is coming. So there's various different channels you can connect. So if you're an omni-channel seller, you can connect them all up, and then you'll be able to not only automate your bookkeeping by pushing everything through to your bookkeeping system, but you'll also be able to do some deep dive analytics directly inside the tool as well. So that in a nutshell is what Link My Books does in terms of like, you receive a payout, we process that information, we send it across to Xero or QuickBooks, and it matches up to the deposit that came in the bank, meaning your reconciliation of your sales deposits is super easy. It means you've got accurate P&L and an accurate VAT and tax returns. So in terms of the actual tool, that's basically what it does in a nutshell. But in terms of adding a new account and stuff like that, it's again, dead simple, right? So if I was going to add a new account, so let's take TikTok Shop as an example. And let's just call this test TTS1, connect to TikTok. And then I'm going to authorize the connection. It's going to ask me to give some permission access, basically. So I'm going to give it unlimited access just so that I don't have to renew it. I'm going to pop in my email address here. I'm going to click OK, confirm to install. It's going to ask me to approve some permissions that we need to be able to access the store, authorize those. It's then going to take me back to Link My Books. And now TikTok is connected. And so now I can either connect a Xero account or a QuickBooks account. I actually already have them connected. So I'm just going to connect my demo Xero again, confirm that. There you go. That has been successfully connected. So then it will go through the setup wizard. So in this case, again, it's detected that I'm a UK-based business because of my Xero account. Obviously, Australian and US customers would see a slightly different version of this, but the same principles apply. So I'm going to say that I'm a UK VAT registered business. I'm going to say next. And then it's going to say these are the different types of transactions that TikTok has. And so what we've done is we've categorized them into like revenue, expenses, etc. And these are a suggested set of accounts that we suggest you use as a chart of accounts. But if you've already been doing your TikTok accounting and you already have a chart of accounts for this, then we've actually pulled in your chart of accounts from Xero, and you can choose whichever accounts you want. Just for the purposes of this, I'm just going to accept our defaults. Now, if you're a new customer and you accept the defaults, if you're a new customer and you accept these, what we do is we actually add them into your chart of accounts in Xero as additional accounts. So we don't change any of the existing ones you've got, we just add them in as additionals. So I'm going to say next, and that'll do that. I must have had this set up as a US, so normally this would be pre-filled. Okay, so now we're going to go through the setup of the account. So in this case, I'm a UK VAT registered business. It's detected that from Xero. So I'm going to say that I'm a UK VAT registered business. If you were a US business or an Australian business, then it would look different. You would have an Australian or a US setup, but it's pretty similar. So I'm going to choose UK VAT registered business. So on this page, we have a list of all the different types of transactions that occur through TikTok. And we've categorized those, and then we suggest a default set of accounts that you can use. If you accept these, then they'll be added into your chart of accounts alongside your normal accounts that you've been using previously. However, you can also select a different account because we've pulled those in from Xero or QuickBooks. So if you've already been accounting for your TikTok sales previously and you want to continue using the same chart of accounts, or your accountant has one set up specifically, so then you can use these ones. Most people just accept our defaults. In doing so, we add them into your chart of accounts. I'm going to say next. And because I'm a UK business, again, I'm going to need to say if I sell only standard rated goods for UK VAT, or if I sell some zero rated and reduced rated goods. I'm just going to say I sell only standard rated goods because just for the purposes of this test, but we can handle like food and baby clothes and stuff like that as well. Let's say next. And then all the tax rates are pre-filled based on information that we've already provided in the setup here now, and also what is being detected from Xero. But effectively, the tax rates are all ready to rock. You just need to confirm them. You click this button, and then you confirm those, and that is your account completely set up. Now, this is obviously just my demonstration TikTok, so there's actually no settlements to show. But at that point, that's when you would end up on the main settlement dashboard, and it would look something similar to this, which obviously we've gone through already. So that's how to add a new account. That's how to go through the setup wizard for an account. And that is also, we've covered sort of the general overview of what the tool does. So now what we can do is we can have a look at some of the other little extras. So like, for example, in the accounts and taxes menu, you've got the accounts and taxes wizard, which is ultimately the setup wizard, which we just went through. So we don't need to look at that. The accounts and taxes mappings is where all of the mappings that you've chosen during the wizard are held. So here we have all the different accounts and the tax rates. It's really important to note that on this page, I would never edit any tax rates. Always use the wizard to do that, because if you change a tax rate here, it affects all the subcategory types as well. And sometimes when you get down further, then some of the tax rates start to change because of the specific country destination of the sales. And so it's much better and much more straightforward to edit these through the wizard rather than trying to make any changes here. But what you can do here is you can change accounts. So you could change the accounts if you wanted to. If you didn't need to change any tax rates, you just wanted to use some new accounts, you can do that. Some examples of that would be, we group all sales together, but some people like to separate shipping out. So shipping revenue, so they might want to put that in a specific shipping account, and then the shipping here as well. So there's various things you can do to like fine tune your setup as well on this page. In the inventory menu, in inventory values, that is effectively, we take a snapshot. This is only for Amazon actually. So when we look at Amazon, we obviously have fulfillment by Amazon and then fulfillment by merchant. The fulfillment by Amazon side of things, we can download a report from Amazon, which basically shows how many of each SKU or item you have in storage in Amazon at the end of every month. And what we can do is we can then put that together as a report. So with just this being a demo account, there's actually no data in here. But effectively, at the end of every month, you would end up with an estimated value of your inventory based on costs that you've entered on our system, if you've entered them, which we'll show you in a second, and then how many of each SKU you've got, so that you can then download that. You can actually view it and download the data, and you can have a look at what items are in Amazon and how much that value is, and provide that to your accountant, say, at the end of the year, to let them know how much inventory they need to carry over to the next year. So speaking about product costs, the next option down is product costs. This is where you would effectively enter product costs for each item. The reason you would do that would be, one, for the inventory values, and two, if you want to use our cost of goods sold tracking option, which I can show you in a second. But this is where you would enter those. You can enter them on the page, you can change the currency, or you can also bulk upload. So you can download this as a CSV file, enter all the costs in a CSV file, save it as a CSV, upload it here, and then it'll automatically update all your costs. We also have a little toggle to show only products that have no costs. So if you've updated them all last month and you just want to see the ones that are new products that you haven't updated the price, really easy to just toggle that on. Obviously, I've entered all mine. And then we also have product groups. And now this is really mainly relevant for UK customers who sell a mixture of different vatable products, basically. So in the UK, you have standard rated goods, reduced rated goods, and zero rated goods, and they have a different tax rate for each type. And so Amazon and Shopify, we can actually automatically group products based on what their tax rate should be. And then for the rest, we use product groups like eBay, Etsy, etc. We use product groups to allow you to tell us which group the product should be in so that the correct tax rate is applied. So that's what product groups does. So that's the inventory menu done. In the settings menu, in account settings, it is basically just the connections to Amazon and the connection to Xero. And if they get severed for whatever reason, then you can go back and then reconnect them. Settlement settings, we went through a little bit before because we had a look at the automation tab. But if we go through these in order, so transaction grouping, you would never really change anything here. It's all set up through that wizard, but that's basically some settings that are on your account. But most of those get set through the wizard. Cost of goods sold, we said we'd go through. So what cost of goods sold does is, as well as the deposit that you receive from Amazon for the amount of money they've paid you, obviously that's made up of sales, refunds, fees, and taxes. You also have to think about the other part of bookkeeping is, so that's the money I received from Amazon. How much was the cost in terms of inventory that was then sold in order to make that money? So if you think about a business who sells pens, for example, they buy 100 pens. When they then sell those pens, that's when the cost is realized. So if I sell 10 pens, then I lose 10 pens from my inventory. So from my balance sheet where I'm showing 100 pens, now I'm only showing 90. And then in exchange for those 10 pens, I then receive some money from the sales. And that's how it works. So obviously, Link My Books can help you with both parts. So what we can be doing is we can be, as you are selling products and as the payouts are processed, we can detect how many of each product have been sold. And therefore we can move the monetary value of those products from your inventory into your cost of goods sold. And so here you would tell us which accounts you want to use for your inventory and your cost of goods sold account. Then you would turn that on. If we just jump out of here for a second, I can show you one of the settlements. So if we go back into that one that we sent and review it, then you can have a look at the cost of goods sold tab. And so these are all the different products that were sold. And I've put in a fictitious price of £1 each. So in total, all of the products that were sold was £26 worth of inventory. So what Link My Books would then do is it would move £26 from the inventory account to the cost of goods sold account inside your bookkeeping system. In fact, we can see that. So we can view this on Xero. So what it's done is an inventory deduction of £26 deducted from inventory, and then a cost of goods sold of £26 added to the cost of goods sold account, which means that now we will see the inventory has gone down and the cost of goods sold on your profit and loss report has gone up in terms of a cost. So that's automated the cost of goods sold side of things as well. And so that's the things you would need to do to set up that would be to turn on cost of goods sold in the settlement settings menu in here, turn it on, and you would select which account you want the inventory account to be deducted from and which cost of goods sold account you want to be added to for the costs. And then you would also need to enter your product costs on the product costs page. That's product costs. That's cost of goods sold, sorry. Status to send settlements to Xero. Most people just leave this as approved, but if you want the Link My Books entries to go across to Xero as draft or submitted for approval so that you can then have a look at them in Xero and approve them and then reconcile them, then you can do that. But to be honest, most people leave this as approved. It should say default down here because the new default is approved. We used to send them all across as draft, but it makes them much easier to reconcile once you just send them across as approved. Automation we've already gone through in terms of being able to automatically post all this to Xero and QuickBooks. And then tracking codes or tracking classes in QuickBooks, we support functionality with that as well. So we can set a separate tracking code for each of the different marketplaces with Amazon. If you then connect an eBay account, you can have a separate tracking code. And what that means is that when you run your profit and loss statement inside of Xero, you can then split it all down by marketplace and be able to see your individual profitability specifically aligned to each of the different marketplaces you sell in, which is super powerful to then see where your biggest returns are. So if you're spending a lot of time and effort trying to grow Germany, for example, but all of your profitability or most of your profitability is coming from the UK and the US, then maybe you want to think about realigning some of that time and investment into the UK and US to see if you can further grow that instead of focusing on a marketplace which is not generating you as much profitability. That is settlement settings. Additional users, dead simple. Just add a new user. So you can add a user, give them a name, give them an email, give them a role. So you can choose a different role. No more complicated than that. And then the last thing in the menu is notifications. You can receive a notification when a new settlement is received, when it's sent across to Xero, if there's an error, and you can also do marketing emails. Most people turn all these off after a while because otherwise every time you get a payout, you'll get an email from us. And then every time it's sent, you'll get another email. So it can become quite a lot if you get a lot of payouts. But yeah, that is pretty much it. That is Link My Books in a nutshell. Any questions?
Is this a part of the free trial? I'm not sure if I mentioned in the beginning, there's a free trial with Link My Books. Also the discount, it's all in the description. But let's say someone starts a free trial. Is it all part of the free trial or parts are not? Can you explain a little bit about this then?
Yeah, absolutely. So the free trial is 14 days. My free trial is 1,800 days. Is that with the company?
The boss.
The free trial is normally 14 days. Everything's included. So everything we've gone through there, you can do all of that. The stuff that is limited on the trial is you can only have a maximum of 3 months catch up sort of thing. So you can go back 3 months in time in terms of data that's important. That's important really, I suppose. When you first set up your Link My Books connection to a sales channel, we'll automatically import the last 90 days worth of payouts from that channel into Link My Books. Nothing gets sent across to Xero QuickBooks immediately. You have to set that up as you want it to be sent over. If you need more than that, then you can click this little button at the bottom and it takes you to a help article, which explains that you need to have a paid plan, first of all. So you need to have a subscription with us. And then depending on the plan you choose, you can actually go back up to 2 years in time. So if you need to do catch-up bookkeeping for 2 years, or you want to correct your bookkeeping for 2 years, then you can choose the right plan, and then you can import up to 2 years worth of data. But other than that, there are no limitations on the trial. Like every feature is available. You can add as many channels as you want. You can go back, as I say, up to 3 months. And then once the trial ends, you can then subscribe to continue using Link My Books. If you don't subscribe after your trial ends, then we just pause your account. We don't import anything else. We don't send anything across to Xero, QuickBooks. And then if you still didn't subscribe, then after a certain period of time, your account is basically deleted.
And how to subscribe within the menu, and where can people input the discount code, like if they want to do it?
Yeah, that is a good point. So in the account menu up on the top right-hand side here, this is where you would add a new account and change between your various sales channels that you've got connected. You've also got a link to the help site and the logout button, but the main bit you were talking about here is billing. So if we click on billing, so this is a different account that I've got set up, and this one actually does work on the billing page. So when you get to the billing page, as a new customer, it's going to tell you basically your order count and your number of sales channels that you've got connected. So on this account, it's just a fictitious one, but depending on how many orders you've got, obviously the plan will change. So let's say you're doing just shy of 1,000 orders a month. So you'll be in the 200 to 1,000 bracket, and you've got one sales channel connected. Then your price, if you're in the UK, including VAT, would be £31.20 a month. That would give you 1,000 orders and one sales channel. Say you were doing a little bit more than that, and you were doing between 1,000 and 5,000 orders, and let's say you had 4 sales channels, then it would be £58.80, including VAT. And that would be 5,000 orders and 5 sales channels. And here's your data you can have as well, up to 12 months. When you subscribe, you would click here to enter your coupon, and that's where you would put in, is it VOVA 20?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
You would
That should
put
give
in,
3 month 50% off, right? If I remember correctly.
is it VOVA 20 or is
Yeah,
it
yeah.
VOVA? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it is indeed. So that would activate 50% off for 3 months on any
Nice
month
offer.
plan. Then you would subscribe to that, and it would reduce the price down for the first 3 months, and then you would go to full price. It doesn't apply to annual. So annual is you get basically 12 months for the price of 10. On the monthly plans, you can get the coupon. So if you want to use the coupon, I suggest start on monthly, get your first 3 months off price, and then come back in and you can change to the yearly plan afterwards.
Yeah,
and then
makes sense.
You get a discount. And just to show the pricing, because obviously we've got some US customers as well out there and other customers. So if we go into the pricing page, so pricing in dollars, so we're looking at the same 2 plans there. So between 200 and 1,000, $35 a month. Obviously, there's no taxes, no VAT on the US price. The higher plan we looked at was $65. And then we also have pricing in Australian dollars as well. So you can actually, depending on which country you're in, it'll give you the right pricing, but you can have a look at Australian prices as well. So that would look the same once you get into your subscription area. The UK pricing obviously includes VAT at 20%, so which the customer can claim back from the HMRC. So they can draw off 20% from the HMRC. But yeah, that's how you would subscribe.
So basically, the coupon is activated from within the Link My Books once we're connected on the pricing page. Once we're not connected yet, it's not appearing there, as I know, right? But yeah, but within the software, once and if they're happy with the free trial and they're enjoying and they want to continue, they can, as you mentioned, use the coupon for 3 months to get a 50% off to get a nice discount and then pay yearly, or you can just go and pay yearly. That also is cool. But yeah, and I'll remind the viewers, the link, the free trial is in the description, plus the discount code is there as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And one last thing to mention here. So the software is obviously one part of this. It's great. Customers tend to love this. The main thing, if you read through any of the reviews that we have on any of the app stores, like Zero App Store, Shopify App Store, etc., that talks about our customer support team. And the support team is made up of accountants who really understand e-commerce, who also really understand Link My Books, and you can contact them directly through the chat widget at the bottom right-hand side. So whilst we do have lots of help articles, which are really good in terms of like step-by-step guides, looking at everything, you can also send us a message. So you basically just choose what your topic is for your message, and then you'll be able to basically chat with one of our accountants who are in the team. They're available during usual business hours, Monday to Friday. Normally they respond within, I think it's normally an hour is what our typical response time is at the moment. I don't think it says here anyway, but normally it's within 1 working hour. So the support team is there if you need any help with setup.
There's free onboarding as well, if I'm not mistaken, with the kind of free trial. If people join, they can get on a call with your team and they'll help them.
There is indeed, right? Yeah. I think you can even book that directly through here, or maybe not. But yeah, you can book a meeting directly with one of the team. So in a lot of the emails that you'll get from us during your trial, there'll be a link at the bottom that says like claim your free one-to-one onboarding session. You can book in with one of our accountants who will then have a Google Meet with you and basically go through your setup together, get everything connected, get it all set up, get some stuff sent across to your bookkeeping platform, make sure you're happy with it and you know how to reconcile it. And then they'll follow up with you by email to make sure that it's all working correctly.
Nice, man. Seems like we went through everything. I'll have all the links in the description, free trial and the discount. Maybe something we didn't cover. Seems like we did cover all the part of the software itself, how to connect, all the deals, offers. What do you think?
Yeah, I
Maybe
think
something else you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so. I think that this is just a case of a little bit of an educational thing as well, that a lot of people will think that they're doing their bookkeeping right. They might just hand this off to their accountant and then trust that they do it right. But the truth is that e-commerce accounting is really complicated. There's so many different moving parts. There's so many taxes at play. The sales are going all over the place. So unless you have a true e-commerce accountant who truly understands it, then you might want to just sign up for a trial and compare your last 3 months worth of data with what we produce and see if there's a difference. The reason I say that is because 75% of the customers who come to us realize that they've made a mistake in the past and that it's actually cost them money. So it's well worth using software And the last thing I'll say on that is that these e-commerce accountants that are out there, a lot of them use our software as well. So a lot of the big names like Osome, e-commerce accounting, and passive tax, and people like that, a lot of them, they all use Link My Books under the hood. So it's definitely a good piece of software.
All right, man. Pretty cool. So I'll link all the relevant content from this video in the description for our viewers, free trial, coupon code. Also, the other videos we did, if people want to get educated a little bit on the mistakes of bookkeeping, I think that's going to be useful. Yeah, man. Thank you for your time today. I believe we've covered everything. If something was not covered, if the viewers want to ask anything, then drop comments. We're going to get back to you and answer. But seems like we covered it all, and I'm happy that we did so. Yeah.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
man.
Thank you very much for your time, Boba.
Sure.